There we go. Shalom. We're continuing in our Psalm series. We're in Psalm 34. And who would like to read first?
I'll read.
All right. Gabriel, and then Cheryl. Go ahead.
Okay. לדוד בשנותו את טעמו לפני אבימלך ויגרשהו וילך.
Vayelach, exactly. Okay, that's the introduction to the psalm. And in some translations, this is considered just the heading. So therefore in the versification numbering system, I have verse 1 or verse 0. 0 meaning it's a title. And you'll notice, for example, in this English translation that I have in the margins. Oh, wait, you have to scooch over so you can see that. There. It just starts off with the psalm. It doesn't give that introductory information so we know what the context is. And all right, so does anyone remember this story where David b'shanoto et ta'amo? What? What is lishanot?
To change.
It's
To
to
pretend.
change something. Well, it's to change something. And then ta'amo, this is a fun word. Ta'am means flavor, taste, flavor. So this is to or of David in his action of changing. Changing what? Direct object marker tells us his flavor. Okay, so that idea of flavor is maybe what we would translate into English as sense, like his how he comes across, his demeanor, something like that. And but it's kind of cool to see how it works in the Hebrew that he changed his flavor. And there are also plenty of modern Hebrew idioms that have this same idea built into it. Like for example, uh, entambaze. Entambaze. There is no flavor in it, means it's not there's no point. It's not really worth it. There's no sense in doing it.
No
Um,
sense.
no sense in doing it. So what did he do? He changed his sense or his demeanor, his flavor, lifnei before Avimelech. Apparently, king. We'll take a look real quick at 1 Samuel 21. And Vaigarashehu, Vayiktol and Yiktol he, Garesh drove off, Ehu him, drove him away. Vayelach. All right, that this is in pausal form instead of being Vayelech. Pausal form pulls the stress to that last syllable and it becomes Vayelach. And all right, questions on the introductory verse. All right, only one little problem that I see so far is that 1 Samuel 21 doesn't record the guy's name as Avimelech. Where is it? 21. Is it down here? Yeah, here it is. Vayakom Vayelech. Wait a second. Are we in the right one? I think it's
Yep.
21. Oh, there's Achimelech, but that's not the one. He went Achimelech was the high priest, wasn't he? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Where he got Goliath's sword.
Avi.
Is that right? Captain David, high priest, young men, holy things. Is this also the story where David and his men eat the holy bread from Achimelech?
I
I
thought it
think
was
so.
when he went to the gate and started acting like a madman.
Oh,
Sorry,
Was
really?
that?
sorry. I mean, before that, when he goes to the high priest and gets
Mhm.
holy articles,
hmm
um,
He gets bread, the used
the
bread,
holy,
because they were hungry and
right.
Mhm.
stale.
Okay, so am I going too far then? He fled. That's where it is.
Achish.
Take for yourself, the ephod, and he arose. Okay, Achish. He went to Achish, the king of Gath. Anybody else we know from Gath?
Goliath.
Goliath. Yeah, Goliath.
Goliath was so the king of Gath was Achish, Melech Gath, and the servants of Achish said to him, "Isn't this David, the king of the land?" The king of the land, period, full stop. And Halolazeh, isn't this the one that people sing and dance saying Saul has struck down? Forward a little bit. Saul has struck down his thousands and David his tens of thousands. And let's see, and David put these words in his heart, and he was afraid exceedingly from the face of Achish, the king of Gath. And so then Vaishano et Tamo. He changed his flavor. There it is. Be'enehem, in their eyes. And then this is pretty cool. Vayitholel. What does it mean? Vayitholel. We know what Vayithalel is. What is Vayitholel? Apparently,
Isn't it
like
kind of to make excitement or to make craziness? Not necessarily insanity, but to make a fufra.
make a fufra.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we
don't know
can
what to
see
call it.
we can see how it's described here,
Chaos.
that he did this action of Vayitholel biyadam, in their hands. Vaitav. Does anybody know what a tav is?
It's a letter. It's a
It's a
consonant.
letter, but what does it originally look like before the Babylonians brought in their alphabet? Basically an X, some kind of an X. A lot of people like to take this to the nth degree. This is the cross, it's the sign, it's the mark. But yeah, it was an X. But what we're doing here is David is like Vaitav al daltot. He's making like X marks and writing all kinds of chicken scratch on the doors of the gate. Vayored riro el zkano. And he let go down his spittle onto his beard. Mark, you just think of a madman going around writing crazy stuff on the posts, on the gates, and spit all in his beard. And then I just love the way that Achish, not Avimelech, but Achish, responds. Vayomer Achish el avadav. Achish says to his servants, Hine tir'u ish mishtagea. Okay, behold, you all see a man who is going crazy. This is a hitpael participle. Do you see it?
Hishtafel?
No, it's not
Yeah.
hishtafel. It's simply a hit. It's a hitpael, but because of sheen or seen or samech or tzadi or zayin, the tav
Metathesis, yeah.
metastasizes. Exactly, that's all it is. So
Flip.
the sheen and the tav flip. So instead of mitshagea, which is actually hard to say really fast, it becomes mishtagea. So shagua or shagea has to do with crazy. Look, you all see this guy who is mishtagea, going crazy. Lama tavi'u, why are you all bringing oto elai, him unto me? Chasal mishugaim. I love this. Is this a construct chain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. This is a.
They
This
say
is
it's
a
like
state.
wholesale usually, but wholesale makes
Okay. But this is a state of being participle.
okay.
So it should be chaser, and the kamatz drops down. Magically, the tzere becomes a patach somehow. And in fact, it usually does. So one who is lacking of mishugaim, crazy people.
Yeah.
Am I? Am I lacking in crazy people? Ki havetem, that you all have brought, et ze, this one, lehishtageh alai, to be crazy on me, or at me, on me, around me. Hazeh yavo el beiti, is this one going to come into my house? Oh, absolutely beautifully executed. Praise God, David should have gotten a Grammy. That was an excellent show, and he was able to flee away. Vayelech David misham. Now, before any questions before we go back to the psalm?
Yeah, I just missed those numbers with letter, like what's those number
We're in
under, how's it, those, yeah,
which one?
1980, or
Are you, the
under each
Strong's
letter.
the Strong's numbers, or what do you mean?
Eli, like under each letter, you can say Eli, Otto, 853.
Like for
What's those?
example, Eli, we've got the transliteration Eli right there, and then the numbers are Strong's numbers. Strong's Hebrew number 413 references the preposition El, and then the translation is underneath it, to me. So this is the Hebrew Foundations Bible we're reading from. That's how it's set up. And
Letters beside.
oh, right.
Next
So, for example, sometimes there's a letter next to the Strong's number like this. This is
Mhm.
called a disambiguated Strong's number. Oftentimes, there are multiple entries that should have been separate, but Mr. Strong decided to put everything together that looked the same, even if they were, separate people or different definitions. So, in this publication and in anything that's built on the Step Bible Project, they use disambiguated Strong's numbers. They put letters next to it in order to say, this is this person, that is that person. Like, for example, there are multiple people in the Bible named Judah. We know the most, we know the most famous one, but with the disambiguated Strongs, you get, most well-known Judah would have an A next to him, and then the next one would have a B, the next one would have a C. That's what it is. It's disambiguating multiple things that all fall under the same Strong's number.
Thank you.
So this is before Achish, and the psalm says Ahimelech.
Abimelech. Yeah. So it makes me wonder what happened there. If First Samuel says that the king is Achish and that the high priest that David saw before he went to the king of Gath was Ahimelech,
Yeah.
it makes me wonder if somebody got their wires crossed or what's going on there, but they end up calling the king of Gath Abi or Avimelech, which sounds an awful lot like Achimelech, which makes you have to wonder, did somebody miscopy something, change a bet to a chet, or chet to a bet or something? And yeah, so going back to Psalm 34, it says here at the bottom, was it down here? Did I lose it? 30. Oh, I'm already in it. Go to the top, maybe. There it is. So, to David, in his changing his sense or taste before Avimelech, should be Achish, because that's the one that he changed his tenor in front of. And so, yeah, that's kind of a question mark right there. This is the only place where Avimelech shows up in the Bible. I checked, unless the lexicon that I used was wrong. But we definitely know that this is the story of Achish because of how it says how he changed his flavor. Okay, from here we can continue on to verse 2. I believe that Cheryl said she was going to read next.
Okay. Avarecha et Adonai v'chol et tamid tehilato b'fi.
All right, so this is excuse me. What did I do with my water? It's all the way over there. And this is a psalm, obviously. It's going to have parallelism, but this is a particularly special psalm. I don't want to spill the beans unless somebody knows it already. Why is this a particularly special psalm? Let's count the reasons. Aleph, Bet,
Oh, yes.
Gimel.
I asked,
Yeah, no,
Chiastic.
not a. I don't know if it's
not
chiastic, but
chiastic. My note said it was
acrostic.
chiastic too.
Maybe it is. So let's talk about the difference. So an acrostic simply means that every verse starts with one of the Hebrew letters in order. So here's Aleph, here's Bet,
Oh,
here's Gimel, and each verse is going to start with the next letter. So what is a chiastic structure, please?
The center verse is the central theme, and then they go out to each end from there.
Sure,
A,
exactly.
B, C, B, A.
Right. So, or stated in the opposite direction, the first line is parallel to the last line, the second
Yeah.
line is parallel to the second to last line, etc., until it gets to the center, and that's usually the central theme, like you said. I actually did not look for a chiastic structure as I was reading through this.
I
So
had
thank you for saying
trouble
that.
seeing it myself.
Oh, well, if you had trouble seeing it, then I don't know if we're gonna. Well, I mean, we'll give it a try. But what resource said that it was chiastic?
I don't know. I had a
Oh,
note in my Bible,
oh, okay.
so I don't know
What
where I heard
is
it.
it? A study Bible?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. What study Bible do you have?
I've got several of them,
Okay.
but
All
I
right.
think it was probably the Chuck Smith's word for today.
Okay.
Or it could have
And
been from Blue Letter Bible, David Guzek.
okay. And all right, so it starts off here in English verse 1 or Hebrew verse 2 with the first letter. After that comes Bet Gimel Dalet and Avarecha. What kind of a pattern, what kind of a form of a verb is Avarecha?
Cohortative.
How do you know? And what does cohortative mean?
It's an
Relative.
I wish. It's the wish of the speaker. No, this time myself. First person singular can be first person plural.
Okay,
And it usually ends with a hey.
good.
And it means not I will bless, but may I bless, or I really want to bless, or
Okay,
can
all
I
right.
bless?
So it starts with a yiktol aleph or nun,
Mm-hmm.
and then has a kamatse at the end.
Yeah.
Usually yiktols don't have kamatse at the end, so that's the distinguishing factor right there. And so, yeah, like you said, it changes I will do something or I shall do something, changes it to I want to do it. Let me do it. So I will bless, I want to bless, let me bless the Lord or Hashem or however you want to pronounce God's holy name. B'chol et, in all time. Tamid tehilato bifi. All right, we're in the Psalms, so we're going to look for parallels. Help me out. Where's the halfway point? Starting here, ending there. Where's the halfway point?
et.
Yeah.
Et, not,
Et?
No, the
the other
second
one.
eight. The second one.
Et.
Eight.
Exactly.
Eight, not eight.
Et. Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
Ain is one of those letters that modern Hebrew really doesn't pronounce anymore. But it did have a consonantal sound of its own. Just ask somebody who speaks, I don't know, Arabic, and they'll let you know what it sounds like. All right, so if this is the halfway point, then what are the parallel word pairs?
Bechol et is tamid.
Okay.
Is with tamid.
Bechol et. We'll call that, I'll just put an A next to it. Sure. Goes with tamid because tamid means continually.
Yeah. I think that the verb is understood in the second clause. Tamid will be in his praise. His praise will be in my mouth.
So the implied
uh,
verb is
it's implied.
to be. Okay.
Is to be, yeah.
All
Or
right.
shall be, or may it be, or whatever. His praise, yeah.
Okay, so if we have avarech, excuse me, avarecha, I am doing an action with my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Befi, I'm doing something with my mouth. Is it fair to say these are parallel?
Well, they're not verbs.
I get it.
They're not both verbs, but
Correct. They can be parallel in a different way. They don't have to grammatically be parallel. They could be, I don't know, contextually parallel. I do this with my mouth. I do that with my mouth. And
you
then,
have to
About Tehilot. Would
just
that
sorry,
go with?
sorry, just a second. Elizabeth, what were you saying, sweet?
I think you have to include his praise with our bless.
Okay, all right. And Peggy, tell me what you said.
That's what I was thinking too.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm looking at it, maybe I'm looking a little bit differently. It's possible that you all are saying these are the verbs. The verbs have to be parallel. And I'm like, maybe not necessarily. We could just say that his praise and the ineffable name could be parallel. Simply because I want to bless, and in my mouth are both things you do with your mouth. So if you tried to make avarecha parallel with tehilato, how would you justify it? Tell me.
Just bless and praise seem similar themes to me.
Mhm.
But this
You
over
bless
here.
the Lord by praising him.
Okay, good. And that it just to offer a little bit of pushback, this is his praise, and this is
Oh,
me doing
my.
the act of blessing. So even though I agree that he is still the focus of all praise and blessing, ultimately it's done by two different people. And so it's like, yeah, maybe it's okay. I'm not going to sit here and say there's a right answer and we're going to check the back of the book for the correct answer at the end of class. The idea is to get engaged in the scripture, and that's what we're doing.
And
How
that,
do you say a praise of him? Can you just do that with a construct like that, with the construct noun like that? Tehillah, wouldn't it be the same thing? Like the praise of him, praises of him?
I don't
Could you?
understand your question. This is a praise that belongs to him,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess it could, technically
To
it could.
Megillah. Mm.
Instead of being possessive, it could be genitive in the fact that this is praise related to him instead of like this is praise that belongs to him. His name is on it. I don't know.
Huh.
But no, I guess I'm
Praises
not understanding your question.
Avarechecha. Okay, I'm just thinking the question that you asked, what is the relationship between Avarechecha
Oh,
and Tehillah?
mhm.
We bless him by praising him, by praising him. He's not doing the praising, we are doing the praising. And that is how we bless him. We praise him at all times, even when it's
Wonderful.
tough.
Mhm.
Ha, like
Wonderful.
today.
How does a mere mortal bless God?
Gratitude,
Praise,
praise,
obedience.
thanksgiving.
Recounting the wondrous salvations and acts that he has done, the promises that he's fulfilled,
Mhm.
um, reciting or reminding or reminding ourselves about the promises that he still um, will fulfill in the future. Yeah, those are all. I did a word study on how to bless God in the Bible, and it's kind of cool to see how people bless God. And you think of like God blesses people because he shows them favor, he blesses their field, he blesses the womb of their animals or of their family, or those are the ways that God blesses us. What could we possibly do to bless God? Well, ironically, you take God's wonder and wondrous acts and send them back
Mhm.
up to him.
With
It seems to
gratitude.
be one of the best ways to do it. Well, all right, we've gotten past Aleph. Now we're at Bet. Who wants to read the next
wait a
verse?
minute, that's where the
I will.
chiastic comes in. It's in the verse, you have, you had the chiastic in that. That's where you
If
have the X.
correct, if verse 2 is chiastic, that's wonderful. Peggy said that her study Bible says the entire chapter could be chiastic as well. Now I can't zoom out far enough to
You can,
diagnose that, but I would certainly hope that you guys can look for that in after class. All right, Peggy, did you say you wanted to read next?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let me scooch this down just a bit. If that's not too bad, or scooch it up, sorry. From here to there, starting with letter Bet, go ahead.
Ba Adonai tit Hallel nafshi Ishmeu ana anavim va Ishmehu
went and grabbed my water, but I can feel my throat's kind of starting to act up.
Mahu. That is Mahu.
Is that in pausal form? V'yismachu?
Yeah,
How do you know?
because it's the end of a verse.
Fair. What about the word? If you saw this all by itself, all by its lonesome, how could you tell that it is a pausal form?
The kamatz. If it was a regular vehicle, it would be a shavad there, wouldn't it? Ishmeu.
Good. This isn't a vayiktul. It doesn't have a vai in front,
Oh,
but it's just a yiktol with an and in front of it. But
Yeah.
yes, you're absolutely right. If this were just a plain old yiktol, then we would expect two things. The stress should be on the end, and therefore the mem will have a shva, and that becomes v'yismachu, v'yismachu. Here at the end of the verse, it changes. It brings it changes. Excuse me. It moves the stress to the penultima, and it lengthens the vowel under the mem, so it becomes v'yismachu. And that tells everybody in the audience that's listening to the person who's reading the scroll that we've now reached the end of the verse. V'yismachu. Oh, okay, that's the end. All right. Do we have any parallelism here?
Magnify and exalt.
Good. We always have to start with the halfway point. So we're looking for usually
Oh,
that sign
I'm
right
in the
there.
wrong verse.
This right here is the symbol we're looking for, kind of like a little wishbone. And that's probably the halfway point. So how can we take these items and parallel them to those? Talk to me.
So you would boast and rejoice.
Okay. Boast
And
goes with
Ishmahu.
Yismachu. So, okay. So
And
Yismachu,
the-
Sameach is joy. And then
Yeah.
Titalel. Who's doing the action of Titalel? It looks like it's either a 2MS or a
Who up that-
3FS.
Yeah. So him or you or
Either you or she. So because nafshi is feminine, I'm going to guess that it's 3FS. Myself, my being, my nefesh, she will boast.
and the
Badonai.
nefesh would go with anavim.
Okay, so anavim. We don't have to find everything parallel here. I
And
don't think it's
yeah.
necessarily a perfect parallel. I don't think
No,
there's a word. I don't think there's a three different pairs here. Okay, so we're probably barking up the wrong tree. But let's see. Ba'adonai titalel nafshi yishmeu anavim v'yismachu. Okay, so I am going to praise the Lord, and it causes everyone else around me to rejoice. So maybe that's oh gosh, what is that type of parallelism called? Where you state something and then you clarify it afterward. Yeah.
Synchronous.
Synchronous or syntactic or yeah, I'm afraid I'd have to pull out my grammar books and see which one it is. But anyway, that we can call it what it is. You
is
make a statement.
titalel adjussive?
Okay, that is hard to answer. Why? Because if it were adjussive, it would look exactly the way it already does. Remember that in strong verbs, yiktol and jussive look exactly the same. It's only in the weak verbs where jussive looks a little different. And if you get a particle in front of it, like na or al, then you know that it's jussive. So I cannot answer. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. You know why? Because I cannot force those people to hear or force them to rejoice. And you can see the translation thought the same thing.
Yeah.
And if these are jussive, let them
Here.
hear, let them rejoice, then it stands to reason that by proximity, there's a good possibility that this could be jussive as well. She wants to boast in, or she wants to praise in the Lord, in Adonai. But it's not provable, but if the context seems to fit, then yeah, if the shoe fits, then sure, go for it. All right, questions on verse 3 before we move on? All right, Anatoly, you want to read?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Lower my hand. A second. Gedelu la Adonai iti uni uniro mema shemo yagdab.
Good. What form of a verb is this? Gadelu?
Imperative PL.
Imperative PL. Excellent. How did you know?
Well, it's a PL because of the Patah Shavad Dagesh.
Okay, I would just
And
say
then-
patach and dagesh.
Yeah,
The shva would show up if it had a yiktol prefix letter.
yeah.
But that yiktol prefix letter tav went missing precisely because it's an imperative. So I don't know if you call that a catch-22, but what we're looking for is back. There we go. What we're looking for is shva under the yiktol prefix letter, patach under the first root letter, strong dagesh in the second root letter. That is yiktol PL. And then imperatives lop off the tav. So now we don't have that datum, that diagnostic datum. But we do still have the patach and the dagesh. And then the u at the end. That's going to be on a plural imperative. Hey, you all, magnify, make great, right? Gadal, gadol. The verb gadal in the Kal Binyan, or gadel, what does it mean?
Grow big.
Make big.
To be
Cause
big.
to grow.
No, I mean in the Kal. In the Kal Binyan, what does it mean? See, in the Kal Binyan, it's a state of being verb. To be big, to be great. And then what we're looking at down here in the PL creates that factitive verb, right? It makes something great, makes something big. And so make great is the imperative here. That is magnify. Gadlul Adonai iti. I guess we're talking to the other people. Hey, y'all, magnify the Lord with me. Uneromma. Ooh, is that a cohortative?
Or did
Yes.
Yeah, because we got the noon at the front, yiktol prefix letter we, kamatse at the end. That checks both boxes. What's the root?
It's Ramam.
From-
It's Gemini, yeah?
I don't know a
It's
root.
a
Ramam.
pol-
Room?
I think it's a
Room.
polar.
No, it's room. Room.
Hello?
I think it's room. I think it's
So
it
why-
is a polel, but when I was asking about the root, we have two options. Polels take two kinds of verbs. What are they? Two kinds of weak verbs.
I don't know.
Either the hollow verbs
Root.
or the geminate root.
Geminate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm not going to write all that. So what is a hollow root? Well, it's one that has a yod or a vav as the second root letter, like room. And what is a geminate? It has the second and third root letters that are the same. Give me one.
Ramam,
Tamam,
study.
savav, shamam. Yeah, any of those. And so if we had like, tamam, that would be a geminate root because second root letter mem, third root letter mem, it's geminated. And so instead of these kinds of verbs, hollow and geminate, showing up in PL, like gadel or yigadel or whatever, it shows up instead in this pattern, this verbal pattern called polel, which is basically a PL. Just it looks different. Okay. So don't believe your lying eyes. That's actually a PL. That looks like a polel. So neromema, let us, or we will. Again, rum is probably stative, to be high up. So if it's in this PL polal binyan, then that's also going to be factative. Make lifted up. And so that's where we get the idea of exalt. Let us exalt Shmo, his, Shem, name, Yachdav. Yachad together, Yachdav. The Av at the end, I don't know, has kind of a strange history. It became an expression in biblical Hebrew. It doesn't necessarily mean together with him, even though it probably originally did. Ultimately, it just comes to mean with one another, even though it looks like it's literally together, him. Yeah, it's okay. We can tell from the usage how it's supposed to be interpreted. Comments, questions on the verb, the verse that starts with a gimel before we move on to the one that starts with a dalet? All right, who wants to read verse 5?
I will.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Darashti et Adonai Va'anani Va'anani
Mm-hmm.
Umikol wrote Lotai Mugorotai Hitzi La
Good.
Hitzi La
Excellent. You said it right. Yeah. Hitzilani. Okay, so darashti et Adonai ve'anani umikol megurotai hitzilani. Where's the halfway point?
Va'anani.
Yes, very good.
Mhm.
Because of the wishbone looking at Nachta right there. Good. So darashti et Adonai ve'anani. T at the end says that I did it. What did I do? Darash. Does anyone know what midrash is?
Oh, wow. Such a
Sick.
Midrash is
in the book.
exactly. It's the act of seeking as much meaning from the text as you can get. You've heard of rabbinic literature like Midrash Rabbah or Midrash Tanchuma, or there's a bunch of them, and some that are maybe a little less known. But this is the same verb. Darash is to seek. Darashti, I sought, et Adonai. Ve'anani. Okay, is there a pronominal suffix on here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me.
yeah. The ani is the me. Wait, so that only leaves me with 2 root letters. What's the root of this verb?
Yod.
Yeah, missing yod.
Ane. Yeah.
Very good. It's a missing yod. Ana, he answered, ani. So instead of ve'anani, Hebrew just said, yeah, we're going to simplify that down. It becomes ve'anani. But yeah, there's a missing yod in the root that should have been ve'anain. Sorry, how would it be? Ve'anayani. There we go. Woo, woo. And so all of that gets squashed down and simplified and just becomes ve'anani. And he answered, ani, me. Umikol, and from all of Megurotai, Megurotai, sorry. What is the root of Megurotai?
Gimel. Resh.
Gur, right? Gur. Who is a ger?
A sojourner.
Foreigner.
Oh, wait a second. Is this the same root?
Ranger.
Is this the same
I'm
root or
thinking-
not?
No, Magor, maybe it's Yagar. Magor Mesaviv is in the scripture somewhere, and it's a terror. It means like a terror.
Right.
I bet it's Yagar or something.
I thought so. Yagor is the verb to be fearful. So I'm not sure I'm 100% in agreement with how they've translated this as my fears. Because if that were the case, I should expect either a yod or a vav in between the gimel and the mem, and it's not there. So we do get to see the word megurot elsewhere in the Bible, and it comes from the root ger, gur, to sojourn.
And oftentimes strangers were enemies.
Or at the very least, ill-treated.
Yeah.
And so if he's coming in from, if we look at this, as though it were from the root gur, then that means, and from all of my journeyings, hitzilani, he has delivered me. Eh. I certainly like this translation better. I just don't think it's defensible. It's like all of my fears or all of my anxieties, he has delivered me from them. Where's your yod? Where's your vav? I don't know. Okay, and then hitzilani has a missing root letter. What is it?
No.
Oh,
Nun. Nun, missing nun, and we can tell because of the dagesh inside the tzadi. Instead of hintzilani, it assimilates in hitzilani. And there's that ani again, referring to me as the object. He delivered, ani, me. Who would like to read verse 6 that starts with hey? Eileen, you want to? Go ahead.
Yep. Bitu elav venaharu uvenehem al yeparu.
Is this Joseph?
it looks like Joseph.
Oh, you can
Same.
tell 100% that it's Joseph. How can you tell?
Al.
Yes.
There's an al.
Because the al is there saying, here is
Oh.
Joseph. Yeah. Al and na tell you 100% for certain that you're looking at a Joseph. Excellent. Hibitu, does this have a missing root letter?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Bit.
Yeah, it's the same thing as in hitzilu. That dagesh tells us we have a letter missing, most likely a nun, and it is. Hibitu, they looked or glanced, elav, unto him, vinaharu. Okay, we've got stress right there. Is that a pausal form? Not based on where it's located, but based on its altered form. What would this verb be if it were not pausal? Well, again, that would drop down to a shva. V'naharu. V'naharu. But because the penultima is stressed and it gets a full vowel, it's pausal. V'naharu. What is the root of nahar?
River.
I thought it had to do with river. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But apparently as a verb, it's coming across as radiant or something. I don't know. And then there's this footnote next to it. Did you guys see that footnote? Any idea what that footnote's pointing to?
The Septuagint, I think.
The Septuagint has a slightly different reading. Instead of saying, they looked at him and they were radiant, it interprets both of them as an imperative. Look at him.
It
And
would be
B,
habitu, would it?
very good. So that's the next question that I was going to ask. So now let's rush back up to the verse that we were just reading. There it is. So is this an
It's like
imperative?
flashlight.
Is this an imperative? As written? No, they are not. What would it take for them to become an imperative? Well, Cheryl, you were answering. What's the first one? Instead of hibitu, it would be
It says habitu in the text, but habitu. elav v'naharu. Then it would be imperative, both
Very
of
good.
them,
Very good. So
I would
habitu,
think.
by having patach there, makes it an imperative, or putting a shva under the nun, which of course causes this to become a shuruk, I guess, unharu or unharu doesn't really matter. But the point is, the vowels would be slightly different. Well, didn't the Septuagint translators read the vowels correctly?
They didn't have the vowels.
That's the point. That's
There
precisely the
you go.
point.
Wow, Elizabeth.
They didn't have any of the nikud. They didn't have any of the cantillation marks. We're not even sure well, I can't go that far. If you go back far enough, we're not even sure if they had spaces between the letters. There's good evidence that well, now I'm thinking of two different things. There's good evidence that the Hebrew Bible probably did not have spaces between the letters, and we have a parallel with the Greek New Testaments that with the majuscules, they did not have spaces between the letters.
Wow.
And I guess the point
Imagine
And I guess the point would be that
that.
paper and ink and scribes are very expensive. So it's like writing in a smaller font or something like that. You're trying to fit it all on one page in modern times. Well, that's what they're trying to do there is make it a little bit smaller or make it fit on less paper so that it doesn't cost as much. Anyway, all that to say is that without any vowels here, the consonants are identical. So shall we read it as they looked to him and they will be, or let's see, is that a hibitu? That's a katal. So that means that would have to be a katal as well. So they looked to him and they were radiant. Or do we read it as an imperative? Hey, you guys, look to him, be radiant.
Mhm.
So what's the point of keeping this note from the Septuagint? It simply tells us that the people who are translating the Hebrew Bible to Greek, their tradition, whether it was right or wrong, was to translate these as imperatives. It gives us options. So which one is the true correct answer? Well, that's the wrong question to ask, because if you're trying to wring out as much meaning from the scripture as possible, you don't try to pigeonhole yourself. You don't try to paint yourself in a corner. You try to figure out all of the possibilities. And that's precisely how the rabbis did Midrash. They would say, ooh, what if we read this a little bit like that instead of reading it like that, which is perfectly allowable with those consonants. Then that offers them a slightly different interpretation. And that's the way that Jewish Midrash has worked for a very, very long time. Anyway, Ufnehem, and their pene faces, al yechbaru. Now, I would like to point out, Your Honor, that if this is volatile, right? This is excuse me, volatile, volative, different word.
Mhm.
If this is volative, if it's jussive, didn't we just say in like a previous verse that
Yeah.
it's more likely that the verbs surrounding it will also be volative? So, I mean, maybe the Septuagint translators were onto something? Anyway, we have options. All right. If there are no questions, then we'll move on to the next verse. Who wants to read? Okay, I will. Ze ani kara vadonai shamea umikol tsarotav hoshio. All right, did anybody get all that? Ze ani, this implied, I guess, wait. Ze ani kara, he called this poor person. Vadonai shamea. Wait a second. Why is there a kamatz right there?
Causal form in the middle of the verse.
And if it were pausal, that should affect this vowel. I'm not sure that it should affect this vowel. What would we expect here?
Well, if it was Shema, just a pata and a kamatz and a pata.
Oh, like yeah, so a
Shema,
3ms
three
a
MS.
3ms katal, he did something, it should be shama. Because there's a tsere right there, it makes me think one of two different things. Either if it's a perceived as a stative verb ae, or if this is an original participle,
Yeah, that's what I
which
thought.
was e and becomes oe in Hebrew. Okay, so again, we have options. Either this is he did something, he heard, or it's a participle, he is the one hearing. And this just, why would it be an ah sound instead of an o sound? Well, because of something called the Canaanite shift. The Canaanite shift says that tons and tons of kamatz vowels turned into o vowels in the Semitic languages that are in the so-called Canaanite territory. Just a dialectic shift. So does that mean this could be pre-Canaanite shift? And if so, then that means we could equate it with shomea, participle, hearing. And the Lord is hearing. So yeah, we have options. Umikol tzarotav, and from all of his tzarot, troubles, hoshio. Hoshio. What is the
Form.
pronominal? Where's the pronominal suffix on here?
Oh,
Oh, okay. And then what is the root of Hoshea?
yasha.
Good. Originally Vav Shin Ayin turns into Yod Shin Ayin Yasha, Yesha, ultimately becomes Yeshua or Yeshua or Tishua. All of those are options. No, Tishua. No, Tishua is from Shua.
Teshua.
Tishua is from Shua, technically.
So is this a construct?
Oh no. Oh, wait a second.
Lehoshia.
Hoshio. Yes.
Or is it a he feel?
Oh, it's definitely he
It's a
feel, but the question is whether
it's
it's an infinitive construct.
yeah, that's what I
Is
wanted.
it that he saved him in the katal form?
In the delivering of him.
Or no. First, I'm asking if it's a katal, like he did the action to him, or if it's an infinitive construct,
Yeah.
his action of saving. Okay, so it could be
Could go
both.
either way, right?
Well, I don't think the context allows for it. Umikol tzarotav, and from all of his troubles. I need a verb. So this has to be a katal. He delivered him. He delivered him from all of his troubles.
If Shemaiah is the participle, can
No,
that
that's
not
on
be
a
part? No.
yeah, but look,
Oh,
there's a
okay.
netnach
Oh,
right
okay.
there, so that's a different part of the verse.
Oh, okay.
So that's not a he feel?
Yeah.
This right here, Hoshio, is a he feel.
Yeah.
We can tell because of the hey. There should be a patach under it, but the following vav turns the ow into o. In Hebrew, ow becomes o. So instead of Hoshio, and in fact, this right here, aho becomes, or sorry, let me say that again. Ahu becomes o in Hebrew. That one's a little harder. Ahu, which sounds an awful lot like ow. Both of those become o. We don't think about it a lot, but the o suffix that refers to him likely went through the same change as all the aw sounds turning to o's. But yeah, it's he feel katal
Katal.
3ms. He did something to him. He delivered him. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Comments, questions? All right, verse 8. We're now moving away from Zayin over to Chet. Who wants to read?
All right.
I'm not as good as you guys are, but I can read.
All right.
Try.
John.
So John, you'll take the next one. After that, Gabriel. Go ahead, John.
Okay. Hone, Malach, Adonai, Saviv,
Good.
Leria, Maria,
Yeah,
Re-
I guess the two dots is going to be more like an A sound, almost like a EY, they. So let's see, li re av,
Rie,
li
okay,
re av.
Riel, Riel.
Let me
Okay,
let me slow you down. Let me slow you down. Li
Lee,
re
Ray,
av.
Av,
Can you put those together? Li re av.
Lee Ray, Av,
Perfect. And then last word?
Ba, Lesim,
Yeah, exactly.
Fahalesim.
Yeah, if I divided this, I would put a division there, one through the lamed, so we get vai chal letzem. Now, why do I make two L sounds? Well, because it's geminate. Yeah, there's a dagesh there, so I'm dividing straight through those two grammatically doubled lamed letters, and vai chal letzem, vai chal letzem. That's from the root. Chalatz. What binyan is Vaychaletzem?
Peel.
PL. Here we get to see the
Yeah.
Shva, the Patach, and the Dagesh. All three markers that we look for in a PL. Okay, good. Chone Malach Adonai Saviv Lire'av. Vaychaletzem. Do we have a halfway point here?
Adonai?
Okay, so here we've got, what is it called? Shalshelet?
Yeah.
Okay. But then we get Saviv Lire'av. So even though
Yeah.
Shalshelet is definitely a high priority disjunctor in prose, I'm not sure if it is in poetry quite so high. We can tell just from the context. Saviv sitting there, just sitting around by itself, around Saviv. Anyway. And it seems like it should belong with something else. The Rivia in poetry
Yeah.
has a higher disjunction level, so it might actually be the so-called halfway point might be right here, right before the last word.
Wow.
Not because we are physically, dividing this into two physical halves, but into two logical
Ideas.
halves, two ideas. Okay,
Yeah.
so Hone comes from what root?
Chana.
Mm-hmm. Chet nun missing yod, which has to do with camping in modern Hebrew has to do with parking or setting up shop. A chanut is a historically a cart that you park and set up shop. And so the idea of camping, parking, and shop are all related in Hebrew today. This is originally in camping. Chone malach Adonai. The encamping one, or is encamping, the angel of the Lord. So we have to supply the verb. The angel of the Lord is encamping saviv, around. So around what? Li re av. What's the root?
Yara. Yara. Yeah. It's
Okay.
right there.
Yara, right here. Yara, yarea. Not yarea. What am I saying? Yare. That's what I'm going for. Yara means to fear or revere. So to le, fearing, plural ones that belong to him. His fearing ones, or if you want to state it a little bit differently, those who fear him. Okay, so looks like the Lord's angel is camping around those who fear and revere him. Vaychaletzem, and he did the action of chalatz, to rescue, or them, pronominal suffix. Comments? Questions? All right, so moving from chet to tet, who wants to read verse? Wait a second, how did we?
Did we skip one?
Yes. What did we skip?
Sani.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Here, let me rewind just a little bit.
Or
Yeah.
All right, so we've got bet right there, Gimel, Dalet, Hey.
where's Vav? Oh, okay.
Exactly, there's the right question. So where's Vav? Because there should be a Vav value of
Oh, well, it was a
6.
short. It was a short verse. We kept it with the one before it, I think. Hibitu alav naharo. We kept it as the same as w it was read with the hey, I think.
I don't know what
That's
you're I don't know what you're
I
getting at.
don't know either. I thought we read an extra verse.
No. There's a missing verse here. There's a missing Vav. We see Aleph, Bet,
We
Gimel, Dalet, Hey, missing Vav,
I
Zain,
see a
Chet.
Vav. I'm looking at a Vav.
What are you looking at?
Hibitu.
Yeah,
This?
Vamps, I don't know.
You're looking at this?
Hibitu alav naharu. It's Vav. I'm seeing it.
Where
Hey, Vav sign.
you're looking at this?
Yes, that's a Vav.
No, that's that's the verse numbers that were added 2000
Oh, that
years
it's a
later. We're
okay.
looking for in the text of Vav.
Oh, in
Now
the
we
text.
could make
Sorry.
an argument. We could make an argument that there's a Vav here in the middle of verse 6. But I don't know. So far, we get the next Hebrew letter at the beginning of the next verse.
What did you say the root was for that word?
Which one?
Hibitu.
Hibitu?
Yeah,
It's got a missing noon. We see from the Strong Dagesh, it's got a missing letter. It's a missing noon. So it's nun bet tet. Nun bet tet. Nabat or navat.
They could
Okay.
have fixed it and just put a conjunctive Vav there. No, would have
So
worked.
we're going to look at Psalm 145 next time we meet, next week, I guess, and which is also going to be an acrostic psalm, and it too will have a missing letter. Okay, that's all I'm going to say right now. So that as you're prepping for next time, Psalm 145, just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, this one caught me by surprise. I'm like, wait a second, we've been off by one. Verse 4 is Gimel, verse 5 is Dalet, verse 6 is Hey. Wait, all of a sudden we're on track. What did we go? What are we missing? Vav. It's got a Vav missing.
Yeah.
Yay.
So why?
I don't know. I didn't write this.
On purpose, do you think? Is it on purpose?
They mess up a little bit.
I don't know.
Septuagint.
Yeah, and if the verse numbers are artificial, then they
Well,
were doing
yeah.
it without, I mean,
Well,
it's kind of crazy.
okay, sure. Let me answer that real quick though. Even though the verse numbers are invented later on, and so we can't really rely on them, nevertheless, we can still see how most verses are, I can't call them verses yet, sentences, poetic sentences are set up. There are two parts. So if we see in the acrostic letter Aleph, there are two parts. In acrostic letter Bet, there are two parts. In Gimel, there are two parts. Dalet, Hey. But then all of a sudden, Hey doesn't have two parts and we're supposed to share it with Vav. So now you get like half sections. Like, I don't know. Maybe. It certainly solves the mystery. Where's the Vav? You can be like, oh, no problem. It's right there. But then you have a super short verse. Anyway, all I wanted to point out was that we skipped a letter. Okay, so Zain, Chet. Now we're moving up to Tet. Who wants to read verse 9, going from here to here?
It's a nice verse.
I'll read
Oh,
it.
right. Gabriel, you're supposed to read. Okay, sorry about that. I forgot.
No problem. Ta'amu ur'u kitov Adonai ashrei hagever yechetze bo.
That sounds like a really, really famous verse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's that ta'am again. Remember, this is the psalm that commemorates when David changed his ta'am. And then you get this verse right here. Absolutely beautiful / ironic, in my opinion. It's like, taste. And this part is kind of funny to me also, because what did he have dribbling down into his beard? Riro. So we already have resh and vav, and so we have ta'am and resh and vav here. It's like really, really, really close to David's crazy. Taste and see how good the Lord is.
I will never look at that verse the same again. Thank you, Jared. Oh dear.
All right. Uru'u is missing a root letter. What is it missing?
Yod. Oh,
Hey or
missing.
yod, yeah.
It's got a missing yod, right? And that only helps my cause because that has a yod in it. Anyway, ki tov Adonai, that good is, supply the verb, is the Lord. How do we know to supply the verb? Well, because we have a I can't call it dependent. We have a complete clause. No, back up. We have a clause, and clauses by definition are supposed to be complete ideas, even if they're dependent on another dependent clause. But the point is, there should be a verb, there should be a subject. There should be, so if I see that there's a subject, Adonai, where's my verb? Well, in Hebrew, you don't have to say it. In English, you do. So we have to supply it. Tov Adonai, good is the Lord. Ashrei or Adonai, Tov Adonai, and Ashrei Hagever. There's that. Technically, it's a noun, or I don't know. I was doing some research on this, and the lexicon I was reading said that technically this is a noun. It's actually a seglet, Asher, like this, which turns into what is it? Esher? I think it's Esher, like this, which is different than the word Osher. So the word Osher is like happiness, and Esher, I don't know, is somehow different. But anyway, what they're trying to say is that Esher in the singular is a seglet, which is originally going to have a patach. And then in the construct plural, that's where we get Ashrei. So it's literally happinesses of Hagever, the man, overcomer, something like that. Yechese bo. We have a missing root letter in here. Yechese.
Say
It's a yod.
yod.
Right. Exactly. Is this a weak or strong dagesh?
Weak.
Any
Good
dissenting
question.
opinions?
Yechesei bo. Yechesei bo.
Okay, so we could argue either way, whether it's a weak or strong dagesh. What I'm getting at is that if this were not a Begad Kefat letter and we saw that there's a dagesh there, we could be certain that it's a strong dagesh. Why could it be a strong dagesh? After all, weak dagesh starts a word, right? Well, kind of. Let's just back it up for a second. First off, is this the beginning of the syntactic word? Well, there's a makef. So both of these are treated like one word syntactically. But furthermore, there are plenty of places where the preceding word can actually affect the following word having an initial dagesh in it. Think of like the word ma, what, when it's attached to another word that isn't starting with a guttural, then that ma becomes ma with a patach, and then the following letter gets a, you guessed it, dagesh. Like if I said, what is this? It wouldn't be mazeh like this. It would actually turn this into a patach and put a dagesh in the zayin, mazeh. Why? Well, because ma has a missing letter. A noon, exactly. Well, it turns out that yechesei does also have a missing letter, a yod. Now, granted, between the period that the yod went missing and the hey was invented, we get a pronunciation tradition that turns this into a strong dagesh. Okay, so what I'm saying is that originally there should have been a yod here. Yechesai. And then it wasn't even until the Babylonian exile that we had Begad Kifat letters. So this still would have been bo, Yechesai bo. Then this goes missing because that's hard to pronounce, and instead assimilates into the following letter. Yes, strong dagesh, Yechesebo. And then later on, somebody sticks a mater letter in here to represent the e sound. Anyway, so that's a long drawn out story for a defensible argument as to why the dagesh inside the bet could possibly be geminate. But in the end, what does it matter? Not that much. It's a fun exercise, a mental exercise, I guess. And questions?
Yeah, I have a question about the missing yod. Why doesn't the Strong's reference, why don't we see that in the reference? When I look up the Strong's number, I don't, for the root,
Yeah.
it doesn't, it doesn't show the yod. It shows a hay with the patah.
Good. It's because of a giant faux pas. It is a huge, embarrassing mistake on Hebrew grammar studies. I don't know if it started with the French or whether it started with the Germans, but ultimately it ends up with the Germans in Gesenius, where he calls verbs that have a missing third root letter yod, he calls them so-called lamed hey verbs. Lamed representing the third root letter, and hey being whatever that letter is. So he called them third root letter hey. Joke's on him, that's not a consonant. Roots are composed of consonants, not vowels. And so it is perfectly impossible for a vowel to be a consonantal letter. Nevertheless, that was the convention of the time to call these roots so-called lamed hey, even though it was wrong. And it's only been in relatively recent times that there's been a push to try to correct that giant embarrassing error and bring it back to what it should be, lamed yod. Okay, how do we know that the root is a third missing root letter yod? Consonantal yod originally. Well, because in several verbal forms, the yod is preserved, albeit as a vowel because of all of the dialectic changes that happened over time, but the yod is at least preserved. So for example, if I say, you took refuge, it would be chasita. Where did that yod come from? Well, it comes from an original chasaita. Chasaita. That's the strong katal form of what we now call a weak root, right? If you can take these three root letters out and put something else in there like shamar, shamarta. Well, this would have been chasaita. That I, apparently, is what got simplified down to a chirik. It's easier to say chasaita, chasaita, chasaita. It's easier to say chasita. So the yod actually had an effect on that vowel. And then at the end of a word, that's when yod typically goes missing. So the reason that Strong's, Gesenius, and several other resources are going to call them lamed hey is because of a giant embarrassing mistake.
Okay. Interesting.
So then the question becomes, what is an actual lamed hey verb? Well, that would be one that has a consonantal hey at the end. So an example, and there aren't many, but a verb like this one, gavah, with an actual H sound at the end. Gavah. That is a consonant. That is a root letter. That's an actual lamed hey verb. I don't know. Maybe there's it feels like there's like half a dozen roots out there with a consonantal hey at the end. Not many. All right. Any other comments, questions?
Yeah. You know what you said about the ma and the dagesh?
Sure.
Is that applied to when you say or when you see ma tovu?
Yes. In
Okay.
matovu,
Yeah.
it has a dagesh in the tet. It's
Yeah.
so it takes an original let's see. Here's the original, man.
Mhm.
If the word is by itself, yeah, let me just do it this way. Ma tovu, like this.
Yeah.
The noon assimilates into it. We get a strong dagesh here. Noon goes missing, and then later on, somebody puts a vowel letter hey in there because there's now a vestigial ah at the end of the word. So it
Okay.
becomes ma. And you can tell, look, this is a patach. Patach is
Yeah.
supposed to be enclosed syllables, not open syllables. So what's going on? Oh, the following word has a strong dagesh. It is a closed syllable.
Okay.
So yes,
Thank you.
what Gabriel is referring to is a very well-known section of the liturgy, one of the opening prayers, or I don't know if you can call it a prayer or a blessing of the liturgical service in basically every synagogue. It's a great song. I'm actually putting it into the Hebrew Hungry for Hebrew app. I'm going to put a bunch of liturgical songs into it, and because learning through song is a great way to learn a language.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments? All right. So after tet comes. See, now I'm checking each letter, making sure that it's aligning up. Okay, so after tet comes yod. Who wants to read verse 10? Start here, end there. Oh, Eileen, you still have your hand up? You want to read? Okay.
Yes. Yareu et Adonai Kedosha ki en Masor Liraf.
Do you see it? Lireav.
Lireaf.
Lireav. So there's that yara again, having to do with fear or revere. Okay, this is great. What vowel is attached to the resh?
Ooh,
That's not attached to the aleph?
Aleph isn't there really. It's it's
Ah,
there and it isn't. It's just there.
okay, very
It's a
good.
quiesced Aleph.
It is a quiesced aleph. So the aleph has completely quiesced here.
Oh, just a minute, just a minute.
Hmm.
I'm not sure. Isn't that when you say, oh, because it's yer, it's not because it's not two syllables. It's one syllable there
This is
with a
this very
with a
good.
schwa.
Good. So this should have been two syllables, but the aleph here has quiesced, and now we just basically have yeru. Yeru. What? Really?
Yeru.
I can give you
It's not
another
yer.
example. Well, instead of no, it's not year. It's not yeru.
Right,
There is no guttural. There is no glottal stop here.
right.
I'll give you another example. Does anybody know who this is?
Reuben.
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 Re.
Reuben.
Actually, hang on.
Reuben.
No, I think I'm doing it
Oof.
wrong. Re, u. No, there are two different ways it's written. That's why. Oh, that's what it was.
Reuben.
I think if there was a vav in front of it, that's what I'm trying to think of. So if we have ve, ru, ven, or something like that, it's basically the same idea where there's no vowel attached to the resh, and I'm sitting there scratching my head like, what's going on here? And it's simply a quiesced aleph.
Mhm.
So the vowel is right there. Or, sorry, other way. The vowel attached to the resh is right there. It's as if the aleph is not there. Veruven instead of veruven. Anyway,
Casual reading and not dissecting, you would just say yer. Ooh, just your eyes, your brain would say it's yer. Ooh,
right. It's
you have
amazing
to
how
read
our
it
brains
carefully.
like to fill in the gaps and fill in the
Yeah, I've
blanks.
seen that a
Yeah, I
lot.
wanted to do the exact same thing. I wanted to say year ooh, but that's not what's written. It's yeru. Okay,
Yeru.
anyway, so yeru is going to be an imperative. Hey, you all, fear, revere, et Adonai, kedoshav. What? his holy set apart ones. What? Hang on. What part of speech is this?
Mm.
What part of speech is this? Oh, that's the subject
It.
that's supposed to be doing this action.
It's
And if
imperative.
this is an imperative, then that means you, O his saints. I'm speaking to you, O his saints. O means vocative. I'm speaking to you. Okay. Fear the Lord, O you holy ones. Ki en machzor. Because for there is not. Chasar is to lack. So machzor, there is a lack. There is not a lack. Lire of. To fear, plural, his. To his fearing ones. There is no lack for those who fear him. Cool. All right. After Yod comes Kaf. Good. We're still on track. Who wants to read verse 11?
I will read.
Go ahead, Anatoly.
Теперь прошу Эву ведоршей Адонай ло Яхсеру Кольто.
Cholto. Very good. I'm going to scooch this up just a little bit. There we go. Go from here to there. Kfirim are young lions. Rashu. What is the root of Rashu?
What did I get?
I see the resh. I see the sheen. The oo looks like it's part of the
Vav,
verb.
Resh, Vav, Shin.
I suppose it could be. Technically, yeah. I mean, if we take another root like shuv, shavu, right? That would be the same form. But couldn't it also be a missing third root letter yod, like banu? That would be the same form as well. So this one up here is a lamed yod. This one right here is a hollow ein vav. They both look identical in pattern to what we have here. And I'm not sure. Is there a root? Rush? I thought it was reshin yod.
It could be.
Yeah, we'll have to look it up. We can look it up in our lexicons under 7326 and see what the experts think it says.
Rush is to be destitute.
And I was thinking like a reshin yod had to do with like authorization, like a reshut. So I don't know what it means in the Bible. Anyway, they say here that it has to do with them being in want. The young lions, rashu.
It's rush.
It's rush?
Well, it says here rush in two-letter anyway, to be destitute, which would go with being in want.
And it helps explain why they are hungry and why they are seeking. Wow. Okay, so Tuesday was right. It is hollow. Yeah. It technically could have been lamed yod, but it sounds like the judges have voted, and it is hollow. Rush, to be in want. Here we have a pausal form. Veraevu. This is a state of being verb, so we get the tsere coming back. Well, no, it would be there anyway. I don't know. It's stative. To be hungry. Vidorshei Adonai. Oh, okay, hang on. So if here we have the lions that are in want and who are hungry, we're now going to contrast that. Vidorshei Adonai. So let's not translate this as and. What should we translate it as? But. However, Dorshei Adonai, the ones who are seeking Adonai, lo yachseru chol tov, do not lack in every good thing. Nice. Rush. I just learned. Rush. Thank you for that. All right, verse 12. We're now moving from Kaf to Lamed. And we have 4 minutes. Who wants to read verse
So,
12? Sam, what is it?
yeah, so do you think there is some parallel? Because in the verse prior, we were talking about poor men, poor man, and now we're talking about young lions. So it just popped out that maybe there's a connection, even
Oh,
though
sure.
it's up in the verse before.
Right. So remember, we're going through this psalm at absolute turtle speed. And so if we were reading this, oops, let me put my microphone back. If we were reading this at a normal pace, yeah, these connections would just be firing a whole lot faster. We're
Mhm.
slowing down, and yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So we're looking at the hungry lions that are wanting, and comparing that to, where is it?
It's up in a
Is up a little
previous,
higher.
yeah,
Okay, let me go up a little higher. Where are they? The Anu, right? The poor person.
right.
זה אנו
Who calls
קרא
out,
אדוני שומע מכל צרותיו והושיע. חונה מלכי אדוני סביב לרב. ותאמרו כי טוב אדוני, אשרי הגבר יחסה בו. יראו את אדוני קדושיו, כי אין מחסור. Okay, so the כי אין מחסור is what's most perfectly parallel to this, comparing
Mhm.
lacking to these lions that are lacking, and then restating the truth that those who seek the Lord will not lack. So ein machsor lo yachasor, perfect parallel. So I don't know, the ani up here, I'm not sure if that is supposed to be a perfect parallel.
Mhm.
Where were we? Lamed, here it is.
Yeah, 12.
לכו בנים שמעו לי יראת אדוני אלמדכם. אלמדכם. Lamed is this letter right here.
Yeah.
Right? This is where Lamed gets its name. What does the verb Lamed mean?
To teach.
To teach, yeah. It's where we get the root of Talmud. Lil mode, Talmud. Has anyone ever heard of the Hebrew New Testament? What it calls the disciples? Calls them a
Talmidim.
Talmud. Exactly, Talmidim, from the same root. And then Talmud is, of course, the Jewish rabbinic literature for learning a sea of information, and comes from the same root. Alamedchem, I will teach you all. So come, sons, imperative, hear you all to me, listen to me, Yirat Adonai, the ones fearing the Lord, and I will teach you. Who wants to read Mem, verse 13?
I'll go.
Go ahead.
מי האיש החפץ חיים, אוהב ימים, לראות טוב.
Mihaish, who is the one, who is the man, Hechafetz, the one who is desiring Chaim, life. Is anyone here that desires life? Ohev Yamim, lover of days. It's kind of parallel. Lirot Tov. Or sorry, not lirot, lirot. It's a different word. What is lirot versus lirot?
Did you say what is lirot versus lirot?
Yes.
One's to fear and one is to see.
No.
Right? No. What is lirot?
To shoot.
Yeah, arrows, right? To teach.
Lirot, like this, is
Teach
to
the
shoot an arrow.
Torah.
Well, no, that's in the he feel. So this is the verb to shoot an arrow, lirot, and this is the verb to see, lirot. So what is the verb for fearing? What is the infinitive construct for fearing?
The infinitive lehera to fear. Leheraot. I don't know.
I don't know.
To fear the Lord. We should know this, to
We
fear
should
the
know
Lord.
this. Yeah. The question on the table is the root yara How does it appear in the infinitive construct? I don't know. Maybe does it show up in the infinitive construct? Well, it's a great question to ask. We'll have to maybe check into that another
To
time.
be in fear of the Lord would be nifal.
Right. Well, we're looking for to fear.
To fear.
Liyir, liyirato. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
No, it can't end with.
Yeah. I'll have to check. I don't know. So who is the one? Good. 14. Nun. Nitzor lishoncha. What is lashon?
Tongue.
La, 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 la. Tongue. So lishoncha mera.
Your tongue.
Nitzor, keep, guard your tongue from ra,
Evil.
bad, evil, things that aren't good. Usfatecha, and your lip. Well, actually, it's plural, right? Your lips. Mi daber mirma. So this is a resh mem missing yod. It's a noun with a mem preformative. Deceit. Keep your lips from speaking deceit. All right, Anatoly, you want to read?
Yeah, just a quick question.
Oh, question.
Lishot and lips separate, like in Genesis 11, chapter 11,
Yes.
when it was lips confused.
Right, God confused the lips, yeah.
And with tongue we produce sounds or the difference.
Well, I mean, they're both used in Hebrew figuratively for language. I still get a kick out of if the New Testament would have used speaking in lips instead of speaking in tongues. I think that would have been a lot more fun, speaking in lips.
Yeah.
Or if God changed everybody's lips, that would even be fun.
I guess they wanted to have like tongues of fire parallelism. So speaking in tongues of fire. I don't know. Anatoly, do you want to read verse 15?
Yeah, like yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Sur, this one, right?
Yeah. Sur.
Mara, Vaisehei Tov, Bakesh, Shalom, Verade Pecho.
Verad defehu. All right.
Rod fehu, kamatz katan, no?
Oh, kamatz katan.
Hang on.
Close and accented.
Well, I'm checking. Give me a second. I was about to jump on a different point, and then y'all brought this up. So give me a second to recalibrate here. Sur mera, that's an imperative. Vaseh tov, another imperative. Bakesh shalom, another infinitive. So therefore, the last one will also be an infinitive. Rodfehu, absolutely. Wow, very well done. I'm glad you. I mean, it's right there in the transliteration, but it's also slightly longer. But verad defehu would mean, and he pursued him. But with the kamatz katan right there, it becomes an infinitive, not infinitive, imperative. Just like this and this and this and this. All of those are imperatives.
Is it an imperative or an infinitive?
I'm so sorry. It is an imperative, and I said infinitive erroneously. Every single one of these is an imperative, 2ms.
And as an imperative, that is a kamatz katan.
Yes, ma'am. See, the kamatz is supposed to be over here on the dalet. Kamatz. Well, Jared, your brain is slowing. I'm sorry. I got several things on my mind. Okay. Actually, you know what, Cheryl? I'm going to ask you. Do you remember if the imperative in the Kutzenjosenberger, did they say that the imperative is also kutul?
Oh, I wouldn't remember that.
Now I want to look it up.
Ask Peggy. She's deeply into
Peggy, do you have any idea?
I don't know.
Right. Let me look in the verb.
I was just reading that not long ago too.
There's an absolute. Could somebody please Cheryl, could you tell us please about this book while I'm trying to look it up?
Oh,
Or
the
Peggy,
book
either one.
the book is Learning Biblical Hebrew. We call it LBH for short. It's written by Coutts and Josberger. Josberger's a lady, Coutts is a guy, and they really went. I heard about this book on YouTube, and I decided to get it because they were bragging about it, and it was all about how verbs are formed, and so they go right into the roots the way Jared does. And I was reading it because I've never heard
It was
anybody else teach it, but
amazing.
Jared, it was like it's like Jared should have written this book, I was thinking.
I thought the
So
exact
I
same thing
recommended it to him. Yeah.
as I'm reading. Okay, so Cheryl recommends this grammar book to me, Learning Biblical Hebrew, and as I'm reading it, I'm like, dude, that sounds exactly like one of my lessons. Dude, that
Yeah.
sounds exactly like I would have said it. Dude, did I
Cheryl,
write
can you put
this?
that in the chat?
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
okay.
So I'm supposed to be looking up whether the imperatives have an oo sound. So what I was pleasantly surprised to learn from this book is that the infinitive construct has an original oo pattern, and that helps explain why sometimes in the infinitive that the O vowel, remember O's become O's. So sometimes in the infinitive, the O shows up on the second root letter. And then when there's a pronominal suffix, it drops to a schwa, and we see the O on the first root letter as a kamatz katan. Are they the same O? No, 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 no. They are not. They are separate. The original form was kutul. And so either one drops to schwa or the other does, but not both at once. And so my question was whether or not this book provides like the original Semitic form of or pattern of imperatives, and whether they also have an oo form. But rather than me taking time to search through a book, I should probably do that later too. How many things am I up to now that I need to go back and check? Always learning something new. Eileen, do you want to read? You have a question? Oh, you're on mute. Tell me, turn your mic on. Do you want
Yes,
to read or do you have a question? Okay, you want to read.
yes, I did want to read.
All right, here at verse 16, Ein. Go ahead.
Ein
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
A nay.
Enei Adonai El Sadikim Veosnav El Shavitam.
Shavatam.
Tam.
So this isn't this the root shua? Help? Shua, I thought was like shouting, crying for help.
Shava is to cry out.
I know it's a vav,
Uh-huh.
so it can show. Think of how mavet and mot, they both have a vav, right? So they're the same root. So I'm wondering if this is also, call it shava or call it shua, and whether they come from the same root. And like when we see teshu, gosh, I need more room. Why didn't the guy who wrote this book offer more room? Teshua. What is the root? What is the root of teshua?
Yasha.
Okay, as much as you want to say yasha, that cannot be the case. There's no yod, there's no vav, there's no cholam, there's no vowel, there's not even a vowel here representing some sort of a lost letter. So what's the root?
Shin Vav Ayin.
Shin Vav Ayin. Which, I mean, there's going to be some overlap between yasha and shua, but the point is that it appears to technically be a different root. And so as I see it here, it looks exactly like the root of teshua, like crying out for help, salvation.
Yeah, it would fit.
Anyway,
Teshua can result in Yeshua.
Right, exactly. Teshua results in Yeshua. Okay, let's see. Einei Adonai. Oh, let me shift this back over. The eyes of the Lord. El Tzadikim are to or towards the righteous ones. Ve'oznav and his ozen, oznaim, his ears. El Shavatam, to their cries for help. So one of these is visible and one of them is audible. And next one, Pnei Adonai be'osei ra. The face of the Lord is at, with, towards, I don't know, and even against those who do evil. V'hachrit, what's the root?
Karat.
Karat. Think of karate, cut something in half, right? To
Oh,
cut.
yeah.
Lachrit, to cause cutting off. Me'eretz zichram, cutting off from the earth their memory. Taku v'Adonai shamea. Hey, you all. Tzaku, they cry out. You know what I want to do here, guys, don't you?
What?
Well, I'm just looking at Umi kol tzarotav hitzilam. Oh, okay. Never mind. Because of the right here, I think, or because of the right there, I think that's good enough context to let us know that this is not an imperative. Hey, you all, cry out, but rather a katal, they did it. Tzaku, they cried out, just as it says. Vadonai shamea, and the Lord hears or heard. Umikol tzarotam, and from all of their tzarot, troubles, hitzilam, missing nun. He delivers them.
He did a switcheroo between that verse and the previous verse.
What did
Because
I do?
they're cut off, and the there in that one, the they in that one are the righteous. It's a totally different treatment.
Here, their memory is cut off from the land. Here,
Versus
they cry out, and he, the Lord, delivers them from all of their troubles.
right.
Yeah.
It's two different
It's
theys.
got to be two different thems.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, so we are, of course, way over time, but I really, really want to get through the end of this. I hope you guys do too. Karov Adonai lenishberei lev. Adonai is close, near to those broken of heart or mind. Ve'et dak'ei ruach, the ones who are crushed of breath or spirit. Yoshia, he delivers. Rabot ra'ot tzadik. That's all. It's got to be a play on, not a play. What do you call that? A consonants with a ra right here. Rabot ra'ot. Yeah, alliteration. Good. Consonants would be when you have the same consonantal sound inside of the word. My apologies. And think about how originally resh and dalet were pronounced very, very similarly. It was re, and de. So resh is like a trilled sound originally. So that would actually be another sound pair. Rabot, ra'ot, tzadik. Many are the troubles of the righteous. Umikulam, and it should probably be but, from all of them, yatzilenu, he delivers us.
No, him.
Right, there's a dagesh in there. There's a hey, there's a noon and a hey that assimilate together. The noon and the energic noon, almost said it in Latin. The energic noon assimilates with the hey of the pronominal suffix. He delivers him, what should be enhu, back assimilates into ennu. So that's why the dagesh is there. He delivers who, him. Who does? Well, the Lord does. Shomer kol atzmotav. Etzem is your bones. Atzmotav, his bones, all of his bones. Shomer, he is keeping. Achat mehenna. Wait, why is that feminine?
Bones feminine.
Because bones come in pairs of the body, so it's feminine. Achat mehenna, one of them, lo nishbara. Pausal. Is this a messianic passage?
I think
Sure.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly quoted as such in the New Testament, right? And what are we on Tav already?
Tet.
We're on, yeah, Kuf, Resh, Shin, Tav, and then this one. Why do we have a pay? I don't know. Okay. Temotet, that looks like a polel from mut, to die. So it's maybe a factative. Make someone dead. Rasha. Temotet rasha ra'a. The evil is what makes dead the wicked.
Okay, say that again because I struggled trying to
Sure.
figure out what was what there.
Sure. So the Tav here tells me that it's 3FS
Mhm.
and Ra'a is 3FS. So this is your subject.
Okay.
She, evil, badness, is doing the action of causing mut, causing death to the object, Rasha, the wicked one.
Okay. Okay.
V'son etzadik yeshamu, from Asham or Hashem, to be guilty. The ones who are hating a righteous one, or the haters of a righteous one, they will be guilty. Podeh Adonai nefesh avdav. The Lord is redeeming the life or being of his servants. Velo yeshmu, and will not be held guilty. Kol hachosim bo. All of the ones taking refuge in him. Questions? Whew. Well, thanks guys for staying, and thank you for studying beforehand. I can tell that you guys read this ahead of time. Maybe in the Telegram, I'll send you the excerpt of each of the Psalms that we're going to study. I mean, maybe that helped. And thank you to all of you who are going to be joining the Level Aleph class that starts tomorrow. I'm very excited.
Yes.
Very excited to start that up. If any stragglers want to try to get in, just let me know. But other than that, let's see. Next week we're going to study Psalm 145. So please read that sometimes this week. And I'll see you guys next time. Lehitrot v'shalom.
Thank you, Jared.
Shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.